you though, right? Right? Danny is big into wrestling. You can tell. Right? I can tell. I can tell. All right, guys. So we have a busy day today. There's a lot going on. So we appreciate you being here. First and foremost, we're going to bring up Jordy. She's scrambling as I probably didn't give her enough time. Hey, real quick, real quick. I got to do this. For those of you that were at the Rosies, raise your hand. Once again, Jordan, I did such a great job, you guys. It was such a great event.
Thank you guys so much for coming. It was such a fun night. I think all of us hopefully enjoyed the venue. I thought it was a really cool space. And it was really fun to just all get together again. So I have one person, I'm scanning the room just to make sure I'm not missing anyone. One person who was not at our award ceremony who did receive a trophy for being a top 5 individual agent in 2023. So if we could give her a round of applause, I'm not going to ask her to come up, but one of our top 5 agents is Wendy Harass.
Make you walk, but we know that that's not simple right now.
Okay, last little thing I want to say is a big thank you to our partners who all helped sponsor and make this event happen. So if we could just give them another round of applause. Thank you, partners.
All right, now we're going to invite our friend Mark from Pillar Title.
Morning, everybody. I apologize. I sound like a frog here. My voice kind of left me this morning. So, but I'm here to share with you something new Pillar has brought upon. We went and bought another program that we are going to bring some value to the agents. So it's the third new program that we bought in the last 2 years. And this one I'm really, really excited with that we bought. So we're going to share this with you. It's all about data. This one is huge. We're going to be able to bring a whole heap of data to you guys that you guys are going to be able to go and get phone numbers, emails, addresses. You're going to be able to do some farming. So this is exciting. We're just going to dive right into this because I know you guys are filled with a full day. You're going to be able to get IRS liens, state tax liens, utility liens, divorce filing. I'm going to get closer because I can't see all this. Great listing leads, probate and affidavits of death. I don't personally know how you go out and market to affidavits of death. I kind of have a personal problem with that, but I don't know. Maybe you can. Bankruptcy filings and empty nesters. I could definitely go on knock on that one or send letters out to that. So you can go to the next one, please. We can also help with lenders. Some ways to get some business with lenders. We're going to be able to help lenders, realtors, and investors. Go ahead, Jordy, and we're going to fly through this a little bit because I want to go live into it. So we're going to be able to do some different searches, search by purchase date, purchase price, taxes, postal carrier routes, heads, baths, owners, divisions, going to be huge. Going through it, but again, divorce filings, 22.8% rate of sales, I guess. Mortgage defaults, pendants. Go ahead. I'm just learning it. We've only had it for a week. I'm just learning it. The cool thing about it is once I get up and running on this, we'll set up agents into it and you guys will be able to go into it yourself and pull up this data. So we'll go right into our website. Lender search. This is kind of like what it's going to look like when you get into it and do some farming. We'll go into it live here in a second. For it again. Call the toolbox. And it's going to be able, you're going to be able to actually pull up a property. We'll do this. Get a live picture of that property. You're going to be able to make some really cool forms and stuff. So we'll be able to do net sheets, Lynn. Net sheets. Always brought that question up with me, but you can go to the next one. Be able to get some, there it is, net sheets. Pull up some really cool stuff. You will get all the taxes and stuff. So Go ahead and go to the next one. Property profile reports. It's going to be endless as the data. And what is data to you guys? Information is power. Be able to knock on a lot of doors, get a lot of I think that's it. If we could click on the link that I sent, we'll right into it. Just do a quick. Just hit login. And just hit login. Oh. Maybe we'll. That's right. No. To look it up. I would just right to it because I had to. Sorry. Anyway. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll get people set up in it. I'll start setting up with the agents that are currently using us. We'll start walking through it, then start teaching people how to use it. But it'll be awesome. You'll be able to go in there and start pulling the data that you want. When you go into farming, you can create a list. And as big as you want, as small as you want. And you can create pull phone numbers, one phone number, or several phone numbers, several emails. There's a cost to the phone numbers and emails. The phone number is 5 cents, emails are 7 cents. You can pull one, you can pull 100. Oh, I'll bring this again to you. I will get it go live another time, but as I learn, I'll bring more and more information to you. But this is just gonna be a you'll be able to knock on a lot of doors. So, guys, any questions, real quick?
It's a great tool, Mark.
Yeah.
Then you also are our lunch sponsor. Tell us what you bought for lunch, brother.
Yeah, just brought some hot dogs. We want to grill today. Didn't have the time, so we've got some hot dogs, chips, buns, onions, ketchup. Thanks, guys, appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. All right. He does it all.
Okay, you guys, I have a special discount from the CE shop that will be active tomorrow for 35% off. And I just wanted to have another friendly reminder around continuing education and the CE deadline, which is coming up at the end of June. So if you have questions on your hours, what you need to complete, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to pull your transcript. Linda at the front can also pull your transcript for you as well. So definitely just something to be thinking about. I will be sending this out and we'll put a reminder on the Facebook page, but I think we also have another 40% off coming up later in the month. So definitely good times to take advantage if you have CE hours left to complete.
All right. So you guys, tomorrow, I need your help. Who would like to help me? We got 2 guys. I got 3 guys. You guys are awesome. Tomorrow morning, we are having Dennis Russell, our regional director, is going to be in the market center tomorrow. He's going to spend about an hour teaching this class that he taught at Family Reunion to raving fans. People loved this class, you guys. Dennis, not only prior to being our RD, regional director, he was also a massive mega agent. And so you guys show up tomorrow. The help that you're giving to me is I'm giving you, I don't know, 12 hours of notice. But tomorrow morning, 9 to 10 in this room, we're going to be having Dennis in here. And I would love not only to get the benefit of the course, but I would also love to not look like we dropped the ball in inviting you to a place. So if anybody wants to help me out, that would be great. Tomorrow morning, 9 to 10. Okay. Dennis is going to be here live and in person. We also have a class tomorrow from 1 to 2 from our fearless leader, Todd Haig. How many of you need low cost or no cost lead gen strategies? All right, raise them hands. All right, so Todd is going to be here tomorrow sharing that information with you. You guys, this guy has 2 decades or more of experience. Three. They said after 2, you should just stop. So two or more. No, he's got you guys. He's done this. He's taught this to hundreds of professionals in our industry throughout the years, if not more. Come tomorrow and gain from his wisdom, his experience, and the number of agents that he's coached through this to do a great job. We're lucky to have Todd as our OP, and we're lucky to have him here. So let's if you guys need this, which show of hands said you do, so let's show up and do this tomorrow. And then Lynn has the mic. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Hello. I'm never going to get used to Mike. All right, we're going to do the purchase agreement tomorrow as a live in class, forms class. I know everyone thinks they know how to write a purchase agreement and what's on it, but I get a lot of calls that say differently. So Alex is laughing. Those little lines that you maybe just don't fill out, or you just, don't use, don't know why. Come on tomorrow and let's talk through the purchase agreement. We got to get really good at our forms, you guys, because that's how we're going to be able to show people we need to get paid. Goes hand in hand. Awesome. All right. I didn't have anything because I'm running out of ideas. So anyone got any questions for a quick little question answer? No? Scary. Yes.
Might be covering this tomorrow. In the PA, on the line where it says, how many years is the term for the mortgage, 15 or 30 year at blank percent per annum? What do you suggest we put in that blank?
Wonderful question, Karen. We could play off each other. Talk to your lender, because a lot of us put market rate. That's one of the lines we leave blank. And really, if market rate jumped up a percent and a half overnight, would your buyer be able to buy? That line is there so that your buyer would have an out, or the seller could say they'll buy it down to that rate. Or it can be a benefit either way. It's some protection. Thank you. All right. I'm going to pick on one team and not say who they are. But does anyone know when you got a double wide sitting on land, what else you need? Because I'm surprised you guys actually sell some of these. No, you pray to God you don't have a car title. And you pray that it's been turned into the DMV. Then you have a certificate of asphyxiation. And that you have an engineer's certificate for the foundation. This came up twice last week, which really amazes me out of this office. It doesn't amaze me for me, but for this office, that amazes me. But as you're showing like maybe some Summer Lake properties, it's maybe when I start to see more of that come up as a question, because they are out there in the outskirts. I did just have an agent call me about one in Otsego. So they're not just all out in the outskirts. It is not. All right. Who's next, Jordan? We can't sell a trailer if it's in a park, because then it has a car title. It's personal property. If the car title, okay, it's not a car title, but it looks just like a car title. If it's been surrendered to the DMV, they issue a certificate of affixation saying it's affixed to the ground. Okay, that you can sell, because you can sell an improvement to the land. A regular house is just an improvement to the land. I just went, the reason this is sticking in my head, I just went round and around with my insurance person because I live in one of these. And I tried getting an insurance quote and they said they can't insure me because of the type of house I have. Yes, they can. He just doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. I have a VA mortgage. It is very insurable. But it's at a fixation to the ground is the big deal. Question though, because I literally just got off the phone with someone that I had to tell him I couldn't sell his double wide because it's in a park. I do have an agent south of the city, so that does have that endorsement on her license and she sells them. So I'll be honest, I've never explored that. I don't want to explore that, but it's out there. All right. Please, when you turn in your files, submit to Market Center, include your estimated closing date because that is how I am reviewing them. If you don't have an estimated closing date, it might miss the list if you're not getting your commission tab turned in soon enough. So please try to do both. All right, Jordan.
All right. I guess that is me. Sorry, Jordan. All right. You guys, this is the event that we've been wanting out as a region. So I want to go over this a little bit. So on the 26th at the Marriott, in the JW Marriott at the Mall of America, we get to have these people here. And some of them you might notice. Shane Montoya happens to be in the middle. Todd Haig is up there. Am I missing one of our trucks? Who did I say first? Oh, there's Jason. There's that guy. You guys, this is great. Todd, Joe Buckley, Carrie and Steve Schmitz, Lisa Sorvig. These are people from our area that are having success right now doing certain things. Gene Rivers, Jose Hilario, Ryan Hansen, Hudson Warren. For those of you that went to Bold, who are my Bold people in here? Oh, geez. We have one, Mark. Oh, okay. So there's Hudson Warren, the coach from this year, is coming back. You guys, he's the best coach. I've gone to Bold at least 8 times, and this is the best of the best coach I've ever had. No doubt. Nobody even compares. Megan Buckley, standing out in social media, Reagan England, Melissa Clausen, event panelist, Ali Rita, Ali is from Uptown, team leader, Shane Montoya, Tiffany and Rod Larson from Coon Rapids, Jason Koenig, our very own, lead gen like a legend, Laura Thompson, Angie Peterson, Artemisa Boston, and Eric Peterson. Again, all rock stars. And last, Luxury Advantage with Trent Zimmer, Cindy Freud. How many of you guys know those names? Cindy Freud, Lindsay Bacigalupo. She's coming in from a different organization to give us some crossover pollination of what else other people are doing. We're also having Jamar Hardy's going to be here. Gene Rivers, you guys. On a local level, we haven't had a class like this. I don't know when's the last time we had a class like this, day like this, right? These are all people. Every single one of these people is operating at the highest possible level of their profession. They're doing an awesome job. If you look up Eric's numbers, if you look up Artemisa's numbers, if you look up Buckley's numbers, Regan's numbers, Jose Hilario, these are all people, obviously our very own Shane and Jason. These are people who are doing exceptionally well. This is your moment to come and learn from them in a real situation. And it's at the 26th. It's JW Marriott in Bloomington. It'll be a great space, easy parking. So I'd love to have you guys there. You can, and if you do, yes, let's talk about that. Yes, all agents. All right, brother. All right, guys. So Grant has Rookie of the Year last year. He works with a very dedicated and diligent team, run by a guy in the front row here. But one of the things that we wanted to talk about today, more specifically, is open houses. So we're gonna go through the process because we have some time here today. But Grant, let's start by identifying you love open houses. You love the opportunity. Tell me a little bit about that.
I do now.
Okay, this isn't going well. We practiced this. No.
No, in my first couple of years, I've definitely had to strike a different mindset about a lot of things that I did not like. Because they seemed very aggressive or salesy to me. But I had to learn to take a different approach. And that came with both open houses and then with that door knocking, which I vehemently despise doing, because take a big bald guy and put him at your door. A lot of people do not like to answer or very reluctantly answer. And then it's, what do you want? And I had to find ways around that. So I've definitely changed my mindset, but I really enjoy both door knocking and open houses now. I don't know. I take a lot of pride in it. Plus, that's where I get to really meet people, talk to them. I get them to ask me things that way. It's very inviting. And I try to make my open houses as inviting and comfortable as possible so that people feel that they want to talk to me while they're there. They don't want to just get into the house and put the blinders on and don't talk to the agent and get out of the house as soon as possible. I had a lot of great conversations there, and then get to know the community really well, which then just helps business further and further.
Would you say that your open house strategy, which we'll get into, but would you say that that's had an incredible impact on your business?
Absolutely. From a standpoint of just your numbers in general, but also, again, kind of how I look at my business as a whole and how I approach all other elements. I mean, just getting myself out more and talking with everyone in the communities has actually helped me with my calling, my reach outs, structuring different strategies for follow-up. It's helped me kind of tailor my business to the ways that be most effective for me. Not just the way I'm most comfortable, because I know that I can change that.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's okay, let's find what's efficient. And this has helped me kind of tailor every part of my business.
So let's start with, I mean, obviously you guys, it's important. We've been talking about open houses or door knocking as a effective, less expensive way to build a funnel, a database. But let's talk specifically about some of the things that you guys do the week of, right? So you know that pretty much every weekend you're doing an open house, correct? Okay. Let's say that again. Pretty much every weekend you're holding an open house. How many of you are holding an open house every weekend? That's not judgment. That's to hit your numbers. You're going to have to do this, and you're going to get this many referrals. You start to create that funnel. But let's talk about the week of. So you're going to do an open house this coming weekend. Tell me what that week looks like, how you prepare, and what the timeline looks like for that.
And to touch on a couple things too. One, this is a great lead into both classes tomorrow with the open house class and Todd's class as well. The low cost, no cost. With door knocking and open houses, there's really no cost to them at all unless you buy some snacks, which I do very often. But it'll be a great lead in for tomorrow. So make sure to go to those two. So the week of, the main part is the door knocking that week of, and what we kind of prepare for. And again, setting yourself up with a structure of, this is how I run my open houses, the biggest part, so that you're not all of a sudden scrambling Sunday morning going, oh shit, I got to go grab my things, my signs and my stuff. Where is it all? I had to really kind of hone in how I do stuff. As Kirby and the others know, I have a bit of chaotic organization, my desk and in my areas. So I've had to rein that in a bit. First thing, I basically take a look at the neighborhood and how many houses do I want to hit door knocking? I would say on the average, I hit 40 houses. Find a partner. A lot of times this is Karen. We love to go door knocking together. One, actually having more people at the door does set a bit of comfort. We've noticed for people answering. They will actually approach, we're both dressed nicely. We have either Corby team gear on or something like that. You do get some sympathy sometimes when you're out in the rain or the snow and it's really cold. But it's figuring out what route you want to go on, what's closest to the house, what homes do you want to hit. Be anywhere from 20 to, we've done 60. We did about 100 This last week, we did 100 homes right before. So it's planning out where I want to do my door knocking. And then if we have an event going on, it goes on our sheet that we're handing out. We have an open house sheet. See, inviting the neighbors out. It's an invitation. It's not, but it's not come to my open house if you want to buy it. Well, they already live there. Or if you know somebody wants to buy it. Yes, we throw that in, but it's be a nosy neighbor, which I told her I probably wasn't going to say that because it's a fun little thing. Everybody gets a kick out of it. It takes that person who no soliciting signs, and we skipped most of those, but take someone from asking why you're there, what do you need? And they go, oh, okay, that's kind of funny. You know, I've always wanted to see what that house is like. It changes the conversation almost immediately, just adding some candid conversation into it, not, hey, we're selling a house next door. Do you want to come see it? Bring somebody you know. Have some different dialogue and work on that with people. It really opens up the conversation. Sometimes then the neighbors tell you things about the home because they've known them forever. And it brings you into your home a little bit easier. And then they notice that you're in the neighborhood. We've had a couple that we've done where they go, well, there's another house for sale there, but we haven't seen anybody around. They just threw a sign in the yard and heard nothing. And it's been on for 3-4 weeks. That sets you apart from a lot of other places. Neighborhood notices that when a house goes up for sale and then all of a sudden agents are there talking to the neighbors, wanting to get to know the community. It's a very helpful tool to kind of immersing yourself in the community and engaging the rest of the neighbors in that home sale. Now they feel like they're a part of it. They know that that new neighbor coming in, they're going to get to know them right away. I kind of lost my train of thought there, but it's the kind of working on your dialogue as you go door knocking and adjusting to the different people you see. We have people all the time that want you to be there. Just do your best. Still hand it your flyer, and if there's an event, put it on the flyer. Hey, we're doing some the food shelf was a big one actually. I added the food shelf into my flyer for my door knocking that week, and I got a ton of food for the shelf. Well, either left it on their doorstep when I came back to the open house, brought it to the open house, anything like that. You can have another takeaway besides the open house, which is the emphasis, but having something else at the door that makes door knocking in general easier. Instead of just introducing yourself as an agent, anytime you door knock, try to find something to give that's different than you being an agent. They'll figure that part out. You'd be like, oh yeah, well, I'm an agent here in Roseville, but we're doing this event. He then correlate you with that event, which makes it a totally different experience, totally different relationship with them. Yeah, usually tailoring it around an event is a big part of it. If you don't have one, that's fine too. Invite them to the open house just to come see it. Let them know there's going to be more cars in the area. Make it a courtesy call. That we stop by, let the neighbors know that there's going to be a lot of cars here this weekend because our open houses are usually pretty busy. We're going to be here, but feel free to stop by, bring the kids. See, got snacks. I always use that as kind of another one of my buffers of jokes that I always have snacks, and it's usually because I want to eat while I'm in the open house, but it makes it look like I'm offering to everyone.
Right.
So
let's talk the day of. Your open house is at usually what time?
Usually around noon. I do a lot of times I do the single open. One of the things I've learned from Family Reunion last year, make it an event, which multiple open houses aren't necessarily a bad thing, but having it as like, it is Sunday from 12 to 2, the whole neighborhood know, you get a lot of people to pour into that aren't necessarily even looking to buy a home. Then you're in the back of their mind later on for when they want to talk about listing their home. So normally around noon.
Around noon. All right. So you do it around noon. What does that day prep look like? What do you do, a couple hours before? When do you show up to the house? How do you get it ready? How many open house signs are you using?
So again, some of the prep even before then, again, because I like to get snacks and it's a low cost thing. I go to Costco, I buy a big box of the Simply Pop popcorn, all individual bags that can go out. It's easy for people to pick up. I found over time that you should have smaller items. I used to do really amazing cookies. They were just massive and no one was taking them because no one wants to grab a giant cookie and walk around an open house with it. Oh, I found like Lunds and Byerly's has like the little muffins with some frosting on them or the smaller cookies. Those are easy to put onto a nice plate. Again, very low cost for a weekend. Might spend $6. And then you've got it for weekends. I've got the little bottles of water that last me a few different weekends. Because not everybody grabs something. So you're talking, you might spend a handful, $10 a weekend at your open house. So I have those things ahead of time and ready to go. And then usually I already have my stuff set up. It's in my truck. I've got a box that I can pull out and I've got my signs there. So I can generally, depending on how far away it is, I get there usually around a half an hour before. Put out anywhere from depending on logistics of the neighborhood, anywhere from 8 to 15 signs, any of the main roads to draw people in. I'll make sure they have plenty out. We have an open house flag that goes out in the front yard too. Have had a handful of people stop in because they said it looked like a party at the house. Cause I had 2 signs in the yard, the flag, the for sale sign as well. They're like, we need to just go in and see what this is all about and why they have so much stuff for this home. Karen does balloons on a lot of her signs. Just something else to draw their attention to it, make it seem like it's more of a really big special event, just a standard sign in the yard. Yeah, then it's just getting my sign set out, get into the house, get things set up and ready so that when people do actually come in the door, I'm not still fumbling, setting things up. You're ready to go. I'm waiting 5 minutes before we start. People will come in 5 minutes before we start. But it also looks good to our sellers. Sometimes they're still home when I get there. Sometimes they haven't quite left the house yet. They see you're putting in this much work. So it's good from a reputation standpoint. Then they tell more, man, they did a great job with our open houses. They really put it to the works, which it wasn't a ton of extra work. It only was a couple of hours a week, your total work week that you're doing this extra stuff.
And the differentiation is incredible
Yeah.
because a lot of our competition isn't doing this. They're not being, they're showing up 05. What time did you say? Noon. They show up at noon 05, and their signs aren't out, right? And they're like running and they're running. But to the homeowner and to the neighbors, they see failure, right? Like I'm working with somebody who couldn't go to bed early enough last night and stop drinking. So now they're here today, half hungover, trying to figure out how to get their signs out, right? And I mean, you guys, this is real. This is happening every single weekend at open houses where people aren't intentional about it. And then they go, when houses don't work, Nick, they don't work for you because you set one sign and you showed up there on Saturday morning. You didn't prep it. You didn't knock it. You didn't. All right. So
yeah. So also social media is a big one. I don't get as big of a draw of people, but from a marketing standpoint for yourself, it's always helpful. Prep door knocking pictures when we're out in the neighborhoods, just let people know we are out trying to talk to our community about what we're doing and then furthering all of these homes that we do have listed. Any picture along the way, again, it takes a couple seconds of your day. Don't have to be a savant at posting social media. I definitely am not. Mine's generally just a candid picture and then some quick blurb and then my hashtag, and that's about it. And it can be while you're there at the open house, right before you can do some live videos ahead of time, start to walk them through the house a little bit if you've got permission for that. But using the different pictures from our listings, we always post about our listings and everything else. Make sure you're sharing those ahead of time so people can see that these things are going on. Just does reiterate what we're doing for all of our sellers.
it really does. So tell me the day of your signs are out, your smile's on, your snacks are there. He comes in.
Right away at the front door. Meet people that can, we always kind of give a buffer of a distance too. You don't want to be I've had a few where I've walked into and the agent is, you open the door and they're right there at the door. A little aggressive to me, but some people enjoy that method. But acknowledge them. We have our stand at the front with a QR code for the information about the home. Start to give them some of that though. Let them know they can sign in and look at the paperwork there, but then start to tell them some of the accolades of the home. Why is it unique? Why is it going to sell?
All right, pause 1 second, my friend, because I think this is important because this goes again to the preparation you guys have as a team. But most specifically, you've said some things that I think need to be pointed out. You're using your hashtag, right? Again, because it's consistency in that. So there's a consistent part of your model or system that's part of it. The other thing that you just said that I think I really like is it's not just a flyer on the counter. You have a stand that says scan here for the information. It's purposeful. It's in the front so that they feel like it's something they can do right away. I think that's an awesome, really cool addition to raising the professionalism of, hey, I just didn't print this out and threw it on the counter and it's got coffee on it. And, you know, here it is. This is important.
Well, then even if you are a flyer person, that's fine too. I still encourage some sort of sign at the front, even a welcome, a stand. Simple as that, just to make it feel like they're really walking into something, and then give them the sheet for the home. Make sure to hand it to them and acknowledge some of the characteristics of the home. So it kind of gets their wheels turning a little bit about what they're looking for. If there's something unique that was updated recently, point it out to them. Again, representing the listing side of this right now, and make sure they're aware of that. I've had those conversations where they come in, they want to start having some really in-depth conversations about what they're doing. Remind them that here's the disclosure about agency relationships. I represent selling side right now. I've had to do it a couple times, but you can also say, if you'd like to further that conversation, could represent you in this way, understanding the disclosure. I've also had that happen too, where I've gone through the entire disclosure with someone to show them I can represent you on this. And we can talk about this if we work together, kind of representation. So it does kind of create a little path to have that conversation and try to talk to them about working together too.
I think that Lynn and you and I've talked about this and using that disclosure to differentiate your professionalism as well, right? Is most of the agents are so nervous to say, hey, I have there's legal ramification to what I do. And we now know that more than ever. Here's a sheet you understand. Now, remember, when they're signing it, it's just an acknowledgement that disclosure. Yep. Again, you guys, you're giving them the opportunity to know what this looks like and what you're doing in this situation, so they feel comfortable and there's understanding to the differentiation in our business. And I think giving them that right away, I'm not asking you to sign this, but I am going to let you know this is how I am interacting. Like me to do this, this is how we would do that. I think the way that you do it is fantastic.
And there was also another mindset thing for me to move past was almost not being aggressive with it, but being more upfront and just right away talking to someone about that and being okay with it. I had a very much more passive approach in the past. And I don't mind if talking about the camera situation this weekend. We had a client a camera inside the house we didn't know about right away. And then so we informed them that we need to disclose this to everyone who walks in the home. And I just made it my mission that everyone who walked in, do my regular introduction. I start telling them some ideas about the home. And I'd say, hey, just so you're aware, there is a Ring camera system in here. There is audio and visual on both of them. We have to disclose that to you. Doesn't change anything about the open house to you, but just so you're aware of that. But I did it in my mind, I did it with enough confidence that everybody went, oh, okay, that's cool. Whereas in the back of my head that I was fighting a little bit was them being really crazy about it, being nervous about it, me having to answer a lot of questions, and that didn't happen at all. But it was kind of a mindset shift, and I've taken that with my approach for everything in my open houses. At first, when I started doing them 2 years ago, was I welcome in. Okay, man, and they go walk around the house, and I wouldn't do anything else. And it's a forced shift to really just push towards people, and if they push me back, that's fine.
And how many of those people that rude to you or didn't want to sign in, how many of those people do you care about? None.
But the thing is, though, when you're just me personally, when I've been my most confident with what I'm saying to them, you don't get that any backlash that you're expecting. No. Once in a while, yeah, we've gotten the people who are upset, but generally people who are coming into a home, they won't be that way anyway. Yeah. They're there for a reason. You're providing them the information and helping them, and some candid conversations, add a joke in there or something like that. It does help to kind of smooth over the conversation. Well, after they've gone through the house, we start to ask if they've got additional questions. And then I immediately kind of pitch, okay, how long have you guys been looking? Are you from around the neighborhood? You guys want to live here? Just, sometimes you have neighbors moving in or shifting a home, or renters moving around. I start to just kind of pry, but I do it in a way of like, tell me your story. And then I'll know that like when they start to just kind of spill and give me their info back, I just let them keep talking. I don't interject with more questions. And if I do, it's tell me more about that. It's not me necessarily pushing for that appointment. And then it's the courtesy. I kind of lead it with, tell you what, I would love to help you guys on this so much more. I'm going to give you one of my cards. Let's talk more. I'm going to send you a text, punching your number real quick, but I can send you a text so that we can talk more about this. I've got to get to these other people that are walking through here real quick. And then it leads me right away that I'm like, I'm going to talk, let's talk next week. give them a little bit of a buffer because I'm like, I know you guys aren't in a big rush. You said you just kind of started looking. I kind of do it's a little bit of a passive approach. It's not just let's set up an appointment to work together. I would, which I've done that to a degree on certain people, but it's really reading their posture throughout the open house, their readiness, reluctant they are. You do get the people once in a while who, again, walk in with blinders and don't want to be talked to. I will still be at the front door then when they come back up. And those are the ones that I really almost overforce my card onto because they will
Kind of like Sons of
pull
Anarchy.
that down. Well, not that aggressive, but it will come down though. If you can get them to just spill a little bit of information,
Mhm.
because a lot of times what they will spill is something that's really key to them. Oh, I was looking for this. Great. I know that about this house that's down the
Mhm.
street. Because again, in the prep, it's really kind of doesn't take long looking into the neighborhood, look at recent sales, look at some other things that have popped up. And I make sure I have a bit of information for each person that could be really indicative to what they're looking for.
Mhm.
So asking them more questions so I can get a piece of that. Oh, we don't, we've talked to a couple lenders and we don't like, I've got one that meets your personality perfectly. They specialize in first time home buyers and it helps get me in the door because I brought that person to them. So I always try to find a lead in, some sort of lead in that way. And then I ask them, hey, can I just text you real quick? We can follow up our conversation.
So then, excuse me. So then you've made the connection to the best that you can given the time and the feeling that they have. What is your follow-up to it? So, and time frame for follow-up. So open house is done. It's 2:00. You're getting your stuff together. What is your next step after that?
So if they've used our QR, that goes into our CRM right away. We use CRM, but it kicks out messages right away for us. So we've already got that set up on a plan. We created one, so that sends them a text and an email right away, thanking them for being there. It comes from me, so it's not some bot kind of thing generated, and it's a very normal question. It's basically, thanks for coming in today. What did you like most about the home? Gets them started on that. Then it's an immediate follow-up for everybody else. If I get a number from somebody any other way, it's they were the only person in there and they've left, wait 10 minutes maybe. I'm sending them a message, making sure that I'm still top of mind as they're going to possibly other open houses that day. I want to stay in front of it.
And that is again a differentiation point, right? Is that the number one failure for real estate agents that do open houses consistently, besides showing up late, is not following up. And that follow-up can't be, if you guys were in here last week, there's a precipitous fall off day, 3 days a week. By the time you've gotten to Wednesday, they forgot who you are if you aren't already engaged in them. So don't wait until you go home. I'm going to go meet my wife and friends and we're going to have a Sunday fun day. Do the follow-up piece immediately. I love the idea of getting it right into your CRM, right?
And with that, that's where I always try to add something that I talk to them about.
Yes.
Make sure they know that I heard them. That, again, kind of that I find that piece that was really important to them that they let come out or let slip sometimes. I remind them that I heard that from them.
Yes.
Because that's a good trigger. It just creates a better relationship. It falls the same for door knocking too. When we're door knocking and we have a good conversation or any conversation at all, card goes out in the mail. If we get their information, it's easy. You walk away from there, you just write down their house number, pull it up on the tax record, you know their name, send them a card in the mail, say, thanks for opening your door for us. Really appreciate it. Love your dog, your cat, whatever it was. They were adorable. But again, it's a unique thing about their home. Your front porch was amazing. Thanks for telling us more about it. We do that. We both really love homes. So that makes it easy. We walk up to a certain place and it's got an amazing porch, or it's got, you can tell the windows were redone. You can tell there's something unique about the home. You open the door, and before you even talk about the open house, like, I love your porch. This is amazing. Like, who did your porch for you? Like, oh, by the way, we're here for an open house this weekend. Love you to come by. People are very open to those conversations. Just get you a better relationship. One thing I was going to add about the door knocking, to give a little technical side of it or a data driven side, say we do an average of 40 homes a week, and I do one every single week at minimum. There's some days I do more where I have weeks off, we balance it out. So say 50 weeks a year, 40 homes. hitting 2,000 homes a year. 1% of those 2,000 homes would be 20. You're going to drive business somehow, some way. It might not be in the first 3 months. Have to give it the time, get the numbers going. And realistically, that's 4 hours out of your week. Generally, we get it done in 2 hours or under. And you've got your 2-hour open house with a little buffer on the front and back. So 10% of your week, every single week of the year, get you possibly 20 homes. That's on the very low side. That's 1% of them. And it creates this relationship in all these different neighborhoods. I mean, think of the different open houses. If you have all these micro farms now and all these neighborhoods that you can put on a letter list and all this and start to farm them throughout the year. Like, great, I knocked that neighborhood in next month or every quarter. Now I'm going to send out letters to everyone. And it just becomes a new follow-up on micro farms.
So I really appreciate the fact that you were willing to talk about this today, because I think that there are some ahas here in terms of consistency, right? You've already done 10 open houses this year. That's insane. I mean, honestly.
Which I've also had to utilize Travis, because Travis is one of my accountability partners and he is great at just messaging me. Are you ready for this weekend? Did you find it? It is Monday at like 7 a.m. when he gets here. He's like, you find an open house for this weekend yet? I'm like, I'm getting out of bed. Just let me get to the office, man.
But
It's helpful having someone as that bounce back or having some sort of accountability then to make sure that you're doing it and staying on top of it. I have a couple of charts that I log every single one of them. So I remember where I was again for the micro farming. Then I track how many hours did I do it? How many people did I talk to? We're using it as a data driver to see how much I am actually going to make from it, how many contacts I made, how many actual transactions happened because of doing all of this to help give us more data doing it later.
I think oftentimes agents find that there is a moment of elation or aha and go, yep, that's the way. We're all looking for that fix, right? We're all looking for that easy button. And what I know now from what you guys do and how you do it with consistency, it's the little actions that you take over time consistently that change your life. And so the hard part that you're facing is that it's not always going to be today, right? You're going to door knock this weekend and there might be nothing, but we keep coming back to the idea that there's a funnel in your business, and the more people you put in the top of the funnel, the numbers make sense, the bottom, right?
And it is tough to fight, especially in a market that is still really rough.
Yep.
And money is tight for everyone. When it's not producing money immediately, that gets tough to fight that concept, but you still have to remember it's a couple of hours of your week.
Have you door knocked in the snow?
Yeah.
Have you door knocked in the rain?
Yes.
Yeah. You don't quit just because the conditions have changed.
Mhm.
Your commitment.
And it doesn't have to be so pressured and aggressive. Like, I have to go this week. Do 2 of them next week.
Yeah.
It's becomes, once you've started to do them and become accountable for them, it's not, you go, oh yeah, I can do 2 this weekend. That's easy. A Saturday and a Sunday, and I'll knock this neighborhood and then I'll knock the neighborhood over.
Mhm.
Just go anyway. So we look at how we think the home will do in the market and how busy it's going to be. So we do one once in a while if we're going to do like a Saturday and a Sunday. But a lot of times we do both go to the open house, especially if we're doing one open house, we know it's going to be busy in that market. We'll put 2 people in the home and we'll have either both of us up front or we kind of rotate throughout the house. We have someone in the kitchen. We had one that Darius came to with us because it was a very busy open house. And by Friday, it had like 40 showings already set up for the weekend. It had just gone live. And I mean, it was raring to go. And so we had all 3 of us. So it was kind of the running joke that they'd meet Karen at the door, meet Darius in the next room, I'm in the kitchen, and they just keep hitting people as they go around the house. But people enjoyed it. And then we're still answering questions as they went around, but then they still got full spaces where there wasn't an agent kind of in their hair. Cause I don't follow people around the home. If I'm having an immediate click with somebody at the door and there's not 10 more people coming in that I want to meet quick, I will walk around them, keep the conversation going. And then of course they start to look around. I'm like, great, I'm going to go check the front door, and I break off and give them their time as well. Just kind of gauging, it's tough to do at first, but you start to read people a little bit better and better, figure out if they want you next to them or not, and when to ask the questions and how to ask them. But yeah, we've doubled up quite a few times and it works out really well. You just kind of rotate, don't all huddle in one area, but I usually stay by the snacks.
Stay by the snacks.
I've started to now because we track the conversations that we've had, and it's very neighborhood dependent. You get in some where some of that plays into the age of probably the population that's there, from home rate, all of that, and whether or not they're going to be answering. We've had some where every door answered, and then we've had some where none answered. Every single door had no solicitation across it, so it's just hanging them up. But even with those ones, more often than not now, I'm getting I wasn't around. I got your flyer the other day, though. People are getting them and bringing them in with them. I've had people walk in with the flyers. I still hang. No, I hang on there. I just don't knock. Because I'm not asking them to buy the home. Gray area, I know, but I still hang on there because I'm inviting them to an event for the neighbor. Yeah, we've had people yell at us for it too. And it's mostly because I'm too zoned in on what I want to do and I don't see the no solicits more over here and knock and they come to the door and they're just angry. And I'm like, I'm so sorry for wasting your time today. And you just walk off, go to the next door. In the past, that probably would have crippled me. It's one thing that kept me from calling when we first started and we had to work on a lot. It's the wonderment of what was on the other side of the call, that someone's going to yell at me when chances are it wasn't going to happen anyway. And if they did, I just hang up on them. So I'm not going to sit there and get yelled at. There's no reason for it. But we're starting to keep track of that now so that we can really figure out how often are we getting people to answer and then how often are they actually showing up. Tough to tell sometimes because people come in and don't say they were in the neighborhood, but I ask that as a question. What, do you live in the neighborhood here? I say, oh yeah, I live 3 houses away. So you can start to gauge how many people from the neighborhood that got your flyer because you know your route and all that. Yeah, back for everything.
Other questions for Grant?
Great question. So a lot of times we take a map out, we just print out the Google map and we literally draw out where we're going to go walk. And so we know where we're going to walk around the house. And then if we've done it a couple times where we get 15 offers on a home, we'll go back after it closes, door knock again and say, there's 14 other people who want to live in this neighborhood. I want you to know that so that if you're on the fence about selling and you think you want to, there's 14 more people that want to be here in a similar home as yours, especially when we start to look at the stats of, yeah, if it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and this is a mansion sitting next door, I will still door knock them, but it's not going to have the same influence. They weren't looking for your home at double the price, looking for these, but most neighborhoods, there's very similar homes in the area. So, but otherwise we just kind of track it on a map so we know where we're walking, looping around. And it sounds like a lot being 40, 60, 80 homes, but when you're out in the neighborhood, you know where you've been basically. And then again, we write down anytime we've talked to someone so that we go back to that neighborhood and we know who to hit with letters.
I think that part, I mean, there have been a few nuggets that you've dropped about the consistency, about doing them every week, about the process, but the nugget that you just dropped about going back, you guys, in a market where there aren't enough homes on the market to satiate the demand, right? Going back into that neighborhood and saying, hey, by the way, we have potential for 14 more people that didn't get this house that do. That's incentive right there.
It's just more follow-up.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as after an open house, and following up right with those people who came in. If you go door knock them once, invite them, well, maybe they didn't show up this time. It's just like all your other emails. Somebody doesn't respond for 12 emails across 2 years. And then finally go, I've been getting your emails for 2 years. And they answer the 13th one. It's saying you go back again and still micro farm. They'll put out letters to these places, still let people know that you're still in the neighborhood. We've got, if you have a house down the road that sold, we've been in this neighborhood last year. Love selling these homes. We love working with your neighbors. We know this is a great community. The people are so friendly. Like, just having those conversations over and over are going to get people to recognize they want to be a realtor in their area.
Awesome. Awesome, Grant. Anybody else? Good.
Any I can get. Yeah. So for, especially for doing them every weekend, we don't always have a listing on every single weekend, or we've got, it's a repeat. If it's on for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. Yeah, I'll grab from anywhere. And I do the same. So if anybody needs an open house held, you know how I hold my open houses, and it's a big benefit to your sellers. Cause again, under the umbrella, and I know this is kind of repetitive, but we all represent sellers under this brokerage. If I'm working for you that day, I'm representing your seller, and I'm going to do it to the fullest. One, because it does benefit me for those buyers that do come in and want to work with me, but it also benefits your seller and just works better for everyone that way. So
Grant doesn't show up 5 minutes late. I mean, honestly, you guys, that was an issue. So I bring it up because there was an agent here showed up late, and it looked stupid to the sellers. It made us look stupid as a brokerage. It made the agent look stupid. It made the listing agent look, they didn't know. Let's not do that.
I've had one next door from another company. It was 2 houses away, and people came into my open and told me that apparently they were having an open, but they had no idea because they didn't know anyone was even in the house. There was no even writer, but they saw it online. It says it's an open house. Nothing was happening in front of there. So they came into mine. They're like, we're going to go see if they're there. And they came back and said, oh, there's an open house, but just sitting there in a chair and not doing anything. And so it's in how you present it. One, it's a complete disservice to your sellers if you're not presenting the home that way.
Yes.
But then as an agent, maybe you don't want buyers, but then refer them to someone else. If they come in and say they need an agent to work with, refer them out. It's still going to benefit your sellers as that listing agent to do it this way, but in a way that fits you as well.
So how many of you guys have seen the agent mega camp agent playbook? Okay, good. We have a couple. There are 4 open house strategies in there that mimic this in writing already. Starts on Monday, do this on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, door knock, do this, do this, do this. It's kind of like a checklist. There's 4 different options. If you guys want that, I'll get Jordan some copies of it. I think it's copywritten. If you guys don't turn me into KWRI, we'll have those in there. I don't know. Don't tell Gary. He's worried about bigger things.
Well, and just to add a piece on, have the follow-up, because otherwise, and this has been reiterated to me from things that I picked up at Family Union last year. What I enjoy about open houses, it's why go to those lengths, of course, for the seller, but from trying to acquire buyer clients, if you're not going to follow up, what's the point? Don't even bother with doing the open houses or all the extras, because if you're not going to follow up with them, then there's no point in having the conversations with those buyers that come in. Just tell them, hey, I represent the seller. Go ahead and go look around the house. Here's the features of the home, and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Don't try to engage,
Please.
because if you're not going to follow up, there's no point in doing it, and follow up immediately. And it becomes simple. Once it's part of your program, it's really, really seamless to do.
You're absolutely right. It levels us down as an industry when you don't show up the way that Grant and the Corby team shows up, the way that LNG shows up, right? When you're doing it and you're making the effort to be professional and to do the things that are necessary. One, it stands out. 2, it raises the bar. So when we talk about the bar being low in our business, doing this, you're raising the bar and you're raising the expectations of the consumer so that they want to work with you and they don't want to work with the guy who shows up 5 minutes late with no signs. And that guy is going to make 1% commission in this new environment or less, right? You're a full fee agent because you do the full fee activities. Grant, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thanks, brother. Let's go live, brother. What are we talking about? Oh, I get it now. I thought we were going on Facebook and stuff.
Oh. No, I don't want to go live on Facebook.
I was like, I guess we're going to be on Facebook
No,
Live.
No need to do that, but let's go in here real quick. We'll do a quick farm. I'll just show you how this thing works real quick. Yeah, nobody wants to see that. All right, so here we are. We're live in this thing. So if Jordy, you want to go up to farming? Does anybody have a listing address that we can type in here?
Listing.
Jordy, if you just go up to farming. All right, there you go. So no, I'm sorry. Go to farming first. Yep. No.
Next one over,
Farming.
Jordy.
There we
There we
go.
go.
And hit. Will it hit radius? Now type the address there. And then click on this here, the little green thing, please. Now go to default. So you're going to do some farming. We'll click on default. How far would you go out farming if you're going to do some farming in a neighborhood? For a mile, half a mile, 2 miles? All right. So let's just do a half a mile. Now you're going to farm a half a mile, then go to get count. And we're going to, let's hit general once, please. You're going to always work left to right, but we can get all kinds of stuff, and I'll show you that later, but we'll just get count here. Up. And it's got 1,482 properties in here. So now we'll download and view the records. This will just bring up the map to the left side of all the houses, and it'll bring you all the addresses. It'll show you the addresses, the zip, when it was sold last, the owners, how much it sold for, and you go left to right. You can mail to this addresses. You can get really down to details. You can go up here and you can export it into an Excel spreadsheet if you want to. You could go into new possible leads. If you do that, hit new possible leads. Then you can get into some detailed stuff that would tell you there's 10 cash buyers, 8 affidavits of death, 2 bankruptcies, a lien, notice of trustee sales. You can break this down into some really detailed stuff. This is the newest thing that we have that'll help you find new opportunities. That's just touching the surface. I just wanted to dive into this to show you what we've brought on. A lot of this is free. There's some things that'll cost, but it's not in a huge amount of money. I think the highest cost is 75 cents for record. So this is nationwide too. You can go to California, Michigan, wherever you want to go. This is also commercial. So here's a new opportunity to find new clients, new opportunities, new business. It's tough out there. Here's another chance to go find new opportunities. So if you're interested in this, I'd love to chat with you about it. Thanks, Jordy. Appreciate it.
And our hot dog has some hot dogs in the back. Thank you, Mark.